Hey, John. So I'm gonna get going
Good
here.
morning.
I just made us live. I see you
Okay.
already put up your post on the thingy thing,
Yeah,
uh, which is great. Uh,
I'm
you're on
learning.
top of it. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
That
How
is,
you doing today?
I'm all about it.
How
I'm
you
doing
doing
great.
today? Good.
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Had fun. Did some physical work this last week, which was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Had a tree that needed removing, and so that was a lot of digging and pounding and getting sweaty and all that stuff.
That sounds great.
Oh, it was fun.
I love working in the soil and stuff,
Yeah.
which has to do with our topic today too.
I missed the topic, so shame on me.
Nah,
But I
it's fine. Hello, Rolf.
Good morning.
Welcome. Good morning. All right, so recording live right now on YouTube, and so let's see now. Attendees chat will be reposted. Okay, so I might also repost stuff on the chat. So if you don't want something posted, let me know
That's fine.
that you put in there. And norms. So engage in challenges. That's a big thing we're after here. Attend at a whim. I like people coming, but I also don't want people to feel guilty for not coming because business happens, and this is a good addition to it. Connect with the business topic when you talk. The idea is when we're talking about things, we want to talk about our businesses so that we have ways to show people what we have to offer. And then I just follow these slides and I use them kind of as a tool to keep me on track and kind of keep consistency between each week. But it's pretty flexible. And so we're gonna do how this may flow. Okay, yeah. So we're gonna do the attendee greeting after I do the intro, and then we're gonna loosely discuss on the topic. And then 10 minutes to the end, you're gonna give me 10-second quest help. So something that'll help on your quest. And when I talk about quest, I'm talking about sort of just a lighthearted way of talking about, we all have things we're after in life, but we're not really sure what they are. Things we're trying to figure out, and that's what we start our businesses for, whether we realize it or not. Okay, so welcome to Adam's Friday Flow with entrepreneurs. Today's topic is, going to be about regenerative movement, the regenerative movement. When you hear the regenerative movement, what do you think? This is the question that was given at login at Meetup, and this is one of the answers I got back. Avoid the need first. Use resources efficiently with minimal impact on the environment. Recycle, reuse, dual usage of resource. So that was one of the topics. So we'll come back to that in a moment. First, we're going to do our intros. So I've got this screen set up here so you can see the next one coming, the next page. Now I could do a screen share, and it doesn't show it. You guys do see the two screens, right?
yes.
Okay, good. I could do a screen share where I'm actually just showing just the page that's happening, which is now this one over here. But I really like the ability for you guys to see kind of what's going on in the background. So I'm gonna go back to this one. Okay. It's sort of fun. And this
Yeah.
is we got the timing on here. I can all these extra little notes. What's that? Oh, okay.
I don't know.
That apparently I can switch which one's the monitor and which one's not. Ah, screen sharing has stopped as the shared window is closed. Okay. That's funny. Okay. Well, what that button did is that button switched where the
My choice.
yeah, which screen had which on it. So, all right, that was kind of fun. And so this is part of my thing here is I enjoy just tinkering around with what's going on. All right, so I switched the screens on myself, and now I'm trying to share again. And in doing that, I put the Zoom screen behind. Okay, here we go. All right, there. Okay, that's nice. But it started all the way over again. Okay, bam, bam, bam. Yeah. Okay, so in the chat, put in your information, and if you have a website, you put that on there. And if you do, put http://www, because Zoom is not as user friendly as like other platforms, like social media and stuff, that they don't expect all that stuff on the front. But if you don't do that in your chat, then I'm not able to click on it and just go right to the page, and I will give you a hard time so that you can learn it. So that's, oh, okay, how'd that happen? Bam, there we go. I just realized I had page sharing than I thought I did. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. And you can't see this one, Rolf, but John already put his contact on there. And so you can put your contact information if you want your contact information, or you can just post on there saying hi, and that helps me figure out what order it's in. And then when I talk about that, that sets it up every time for the next folks that are going to join. Okay. So that's is, oh yeah, and you want it, whatever you put on there, if you don't want to publish, well, tell me, but otherwise put it as if you were going to be able to publish it right then. What is that? Oh, I see. Okay. I'm seeing this little thing here, and I thought, what's this logo for? I didn't put that on there, but that just means the next slide is going to be animated. Anyway, so spoken intro. So you're going to give your name, you're going to tell me what your business, how your business works, and what it is actually after. What's the big thing that you're aiming to figure out by using your business? And I'm going to start with my company here. So I'm not able to click on that one. Where are we at? Oh yeah, it did work. Oh, actually, you don't see this, but it's opening up a whole bunch of pages. Okay. So I'm going to do new share. I'm going to go to, I think this, yeah, there we are. So this is my web page. Currently, it's in creation. I opened it a bunch of times on accident, so I'm going to close out some of those. Okay. For those wondering, this system that I'm using in the background is LibreOffice, and that's why I'm figuring, well, I think it all happens with all kinds of technology these days. They keep changing stuff up anyway, but trying to figure out how to use it is part of the fun of doing this program. Okay, thanks, Ralph, for posting on there. So Sparks Flow is, I organize businesses and homes to make it so that they can do cool things. This is my marketing person finally put this post up. Last time I posted was in November. Oh my goodness. All right, so this was done in May. And so she's going to try and clear this up so it's a little more clear what I do, because currently it looks like I used to do this show that we're doing right now, and that's pretty much it. But then I also have these great reviews that make me look wonderful. Those were also a couple months ago, so I should probably get a couple of new ones in there. But what I've done is I've created spaces for people to get done the things they want to get done and to focus on them and to kind of leverage their limits is one of the things I like to say. And that used to be my logo, and that's my logo now. And that's me doing some of my hobbies. So that's my page. That's a quick, brief overview of what I do and what I'm about. My big quest is to make it so people can do the things they want to do and make their ideas happen. So let's go back to this page here. Okay. That's my big question. The way I make it work is by coming into people's place, either virtually or in person. And I'm going to move on now to John. John, what's your name? How does your business work, and what's your quest?
Okay, the name is John Barney. The business doesn't work yet. I'm kind of recovering from being retired, and I've been spending my time getting up to date on software, through with Python, and 3/4 of the way through C++. And since I had a background in C before, learning C++ doesn't seem to be particularly difficult. Just managing, just sweeping out some cobwebs that have developed there for a time. And what I would really like to do is I don't want to work full time anymore. I'd like to work part time. I could work from the office. And what I like to do is help design stuff that's both hardware and software. And nowadays we've got a lot of inexpensive single board computers, which makes building specialized things that need sensors and so forth. And so that's kind of the area that I'm looking at. And anything I can do for all of you, I'd be more than happy to do. That's me.
Single board computers, are you talking about like creating them like with Blueberry or Blueberry Pie or whatever those things are called?
Raspberry Pi, but close.
Raspberry Pi. Yeah.
Yes. Basically, that's, you can't believe it, but that's about the size of a regular credit card. And you plug in a power supply and a monitor, and if you want a keyboard, and you've got a full PC, you can actually run Windows 10 on one of those things.
Goodness.
And they sell for $35 or something like that. I mean, it's, but the kinds of things where I think they apply is you need to automate some process, you need to inspect something, and you need to collect the data and get it into your, into your, whatever your particular facilities needs. That's the kind of neat things you can do with it.
Wow.
Anytime you can get rid of somebody entering numbers.
Yeah.
One of the companies I worked for had this system that had a whole bunch of little LED lights on the front of the panel that told things about it. And inspecting that, they gave up on having people inspect them because they found that at the end of an 8-hour shift, nobody really looked and see, did that red LED in the upper right-hand corner blink green? But a robot, the robot never misses. And not only that, you don't have to pay him for sick pay, and you don't have to,
and who really
you'll work 24 hours a day if you want.
Yeah. I mean, who really wants that job anyhow, right? They that doesn't even engage your brain. That's tough.
Yeah. Wow. There are people that works for them.
Really?
I had a friend who had a PhD in Sanskrit and some other thing. And she loved working for a company, absolutely refused, to be promoted, because what she really liked to do was go home and do her hobby, and didn't want to be involved in the corporate struggle. So, different strokes for different people. That's really true.
I guess so. Wow. Well, thank you. So you said that your business doesn't really work, but you are doing something, right? You're doing some research, and then you're also putting feelers out there for people that are actually wanting to do something.
Yeah, and that's really just kind of in the last month or so that I've felt that I've got back into the flow of things. So,
that's great.
Yeah. I've enjoyed learning the new software, because while I had used C for in small computers before, I hadn't used any of the newer software, and it's amazing what you can do with it.
Yeah. That's cool. I was wondering how I could use that kind of thing for like helping people with habits and getting stuff set up, but that's a thought for another time.
Yeah.
But just to whittle on that one.
And
Mr. Rolf,
I should be ready to talk about QR codes next week if you want.
That's good.
We can talk about that in just a moment. Rolf.
Yeah, I'm Rolf Nitsche. My background is electrical engineering. I don't have a business yet. I'm still looking to find the right focus. I've worked long with glass production and renewable energies. I built a shot solar plant here in Albuquerque. and
Oh, really?
just left Solero by end of February because I had burnout syndromes. So I'm looking for a better work-life
Oh,
balance and to look to make a impact on the environment. And I'm attending right now a lot of webinars from the DOE about better buildings and better plants. It's about energy efficiency. And I'm also attending a lot of webinars about hydrogen. That's one of the future fuels, which is looking very promising. Also to decarbonize the environment with hydrogen technology.
oh
So
my
I'm just
goodness.
looking right now, or still looking to find the right niche, then to create my business or a partnership or whatever, and to
Yeah.
move on.
Wow. Oh, so that's really exciting for the topic that we have today.
Yes, that's why I joined. I saw
Yeah.
that on Meetup posted. I looked a little bit at the DOE
Yeah.
program about plastics and so on. So there are
Yeah.
a lot of options, and we need to drill down
Yeah.
which plastics we want to focus on.
That's that's something. What I boy, it sounds like you've got a lot of information to we could talk about. I have some surface sort of stuff about that. So I guess that's a nice segue to roll right into this. So the topic today is regenerative options and DOA's trash gasification trash da- trash
Yes,
gasification.
yes.
It just is like just this bizarre thing that I just like I knew about this concept, but I didn't know DOE was big into it, and I didn't know gasification was what I was thinking of. But we'll talk about all that in a minute. I really trying to pack a lot of this topic here because regenerative in itself might be a new topic that many people don't know about. And then gasification in itself is really a deal. Like that's a whole lot of like it's just an angle within regenerative options. Um, so the quest is to figure out figure out what these mean, I guess. But you know, do we do regenerative activities, especially with our trash? Like, what do we do with how can we use trash in regeneration? Um, and then the people involved, well, as everybody, right? Anyone on this planet, anyone who wants to do it. But the people that got me interested in this topic, one was an attendee here, Hanix Barbosa. She has trash gasification on her website actually, and she's an assurance person. Like, so it's like there's a weird combination on her website, which I will probably go to in just a little bit here. Um, but she's someone that kind of got me down this angle. But there's another guy, Kelly De La Rosa, and he is someone I've been talking with a lot, and he's huge into the regenerative movement, and was trying to figure out ways to basically create uh, systems that don't just sustain what's going on, but actually make them better and make things better for people. And so that's the idea of regeneration. So the limits here is that you know we have a certain number of materials that the stars have blasted out here and created, and have within our immediate limits of travel. So the more we destroy this planet, the better, the less we have for ourselves to actually use. So, but we've got so many resources here and so many cool things we could do with them if we just went ahead and focused on doing that. Like instead of just beating each other up. So that's all like that's like big picture stuff. But there's just you know we in a every time we're in a system, it's like my garage. You know, I've got a certain amount of stuff in here that could be really put to well good use, and that isn't. And I just kind of got to organize it so that we're actually putting it to good use, so that this room, this little system here, is going to work out well. And so regenerative movement and regeneration is just a great way of doing that. And the DOE has kind of got this angle on it that whether or not they know that's what it's for, that's the way I'm taking it. And knowing about it is a big thing. And making a business out of it is really exciting, Mr. Rolf. So then I go into this discussion, and in order to do that, I'm going to close this all out because then I can't type. I can type on it if I've closed this. Nope, that's not what I wanted. restart. Next. Does it close here? I just close. There we go. That took care of that. It was is bad. Okay. All right, so open that up again. All right, so I'm gonna take some notes here on the side. That's what I try to do. And I've been trying to figure out how to do taking notes the best. And sometimes I just settle for what happens to work. And so that's what I'm doing a lot of this time. So when we talk about stuff, you guys can go off on any tangent you want, and I'll jump in and redirect it if I want to and all that. But okay, I'm gonna share the screen here and get this back on. Actually, I'm gonna do this. Okay, then you have this whole screen over here. But one of the things I'd like to do is I'm going to show you. I mentioned Hanik's website, and how she has it on here. So this might be someone you wanted to talk to, Rolf, because I don't know exactly what her involvement is with this particular thing. But and I wonder if she's even taking a different angle, because Hanik's Assurance she's like deals with insurance or like retirement stuff and what you're planning to do. But then she has this stuff. Like, I don't understand the total, like how it all goes together. I think it does. I think it's great. But
I think the big picture is coming in here, that a lot of companies are going to have zero carbon footprint, being environment friendly goals. So a lot of companies are posting that as a strategy, and I say it's a soft value for a business to have no carbon footprint in a very short time. Maybe that's why you see that here on an insurance or assurance web page.
Yeah,
there's a big movement to be carbon neutral, to avoid the climate disaster what we have with climate change, or even turn the tide back. So many companies have very aggressive goals to be positive for the environment. And that has a lot of flares from transportation to energy better green energies, reuse of resources, and it's a wide range. And gasification is one method to reuse plastics. There is a U.S. Department of Energy Plastic Innovation Challenge roadmap. I'll put in the link when I find it in the chat. So plastics, you can primarily, first thing is you need to sort them so you have clean plastics, and they are sorted regularly by classifications, and not every plastic can be used the same way or reused the same way. Some can be, if they are clean, you can just shredder them and reuse them and produce new products. Others you need to, with a gasifier, to produce whatever medium to produce new chemicals. So going back from plastic to oil, and from oil back again then to whatever new plastics. You can produce gases like methane to use that as energy. You can burn plastics directly, and you also can upcycle things because some plastic you cannot easily disassemble chemically. So you just shredder them and build bricks out of plastics to build buildings or something like that. There's a very wide range how to reuse plastics, and some plastic like PVC have toxic components in there, or if you put a laser engraving on it, you get toxic fumes. So it's really important to separate what type of plastic you want to look at. Not every plastic can be used for every recycling, upcycling, or reuse. So it's a very wide range. So we have to be very specific what plastics we are talking about. And I'm coming from Germany originally, and there you have already since almost 20 years a mandatory recycling of all packaging materials. And you also have electronic waste recycling requirements. You cannot dump any electronic equipment in the in the landfill. It has to be recycled.
Yeah.
That you have industries and sorting machines for recycling all the waste already. And you can do that highly automated, like by shredding materials, and then with many different processes to go to the different raw materials. And the DOE has currently under the renewable energy activities an activity to look into to secure the sourcing of raw materials. Like for batteries, we are depending on lithium, and some of these materials are very rare and they are mined under very unhealthy conditions. So the reuse of materials is very important, and it's also a value. It's at the moment it's for us in Mexico with long distance for transportation. It's very often not allowing to recycle materials because the transportation costs eat up the profits. But if you have a good transportation system, local breaking down of the materials and the different substances, then you can ship very specific the raw materials for recycling. That's aluminium from solar panels, to silicon from solar panels, or even the plastics you use in solar panels. So it all depends on the business case that it makes sense. And for plastic, it might be good decentralized gasification and then use the gas for energy production instead of getting gas out of the soil. So there are a lot of options you can use.
Ralph, can I ask you a question?
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you have any experience with recycling of tires? I happened to, when I knew this company called Les Schwab. They're a big tire company up in Oregon and Washington. Anyway, he has a huge ranch over, and I forget how many acres, but I think it's over 100 acres in which he has nothing but old used tires. And I look around town and I see lots of old used tires. Is anybody working on that now? Do you know?
Yeah, as I say, tires were recycled in Europe very often by burning them in cement plants. But I think the new tendency is you see like on the playgrounds, you see all these rubber floor coatings. So they're shredding the tires and they are making mats for flooring, which are recycled tires. If you see all the playgrounds, the reddish landscape stuff on the bottom on top of the soil, that's very often recycled tires.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's right. Okay. And see, I think of, I've seen just shredded tires used as that, but one of the problems is the off gassing that creates. But the mats have been pretty neat. They've been kind of nice.
Yeah, and you can and tires also have a lot of metal in there, so you shredder them down and separate the metal and then use the rubber for whatever rubber applications.
That must take a pretty big size plant for that to work well.
I don't know. I think the shredder might be similar, something like you use for shredding woods.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your trees.
Wow. So
and then you just need large magnets to separate the metal out of that.
So with the cement plants, how do they use it for gasification in the cement plants, or?
No, they just burn it as they use it as a resource for the cement to get, I think, the carbon for the cement production. But I'm not an expert, but I know that they bring them. That's where the common way to recycle them. But again, the long distance transport is very important for that. And where do we have a cement plant here close by? I produce cement.
Well, and then of course, if you burn it, you're creating some more carbon in the air. So, and maybe you haven't experienced this, but what I have seen is when they stack up all these tires, if they get a fire in them, they're practically impossible to put out the fire. And so there's a hazard associated. Well, it looks like you know that there isn't anything, the tires just sit there and don't do anything, but there's a hazard. You get one lightning strike in one of those big piles of tires and you've got a problem.
I agree with that. I just saw that recently a few days ago in the news when you had someone on the west side, tires burning. Um, and that's
Oh,
one thing, it's a waste of resources. It's dangerous because the fumes are sometimes toxic what you get out of that, because it's vulcanized rubber. And
mm,
so it's better to bring the stuff to a defined recycling plant, recycle that stuff and reuse as much as possible. And what you cannot reuse directly, then you break it down to go back to the basic methane or oil or whatever product you use as a starting product for something new.
that's right.
I remember an environmentalist telling me 100 pounds of something is a product. 1 pound of it is a nuisance, is a waste. So the trick is how to get enough to make a business out of it, right?
Yeah, it's always a business case. When I worked for Array Technology, I had rubber boots for the actuators, which were bad because they were not UV resistant. There was a recycling network, but when they looked at, I have 1 ton of plastic or rubber to bring to a recycling plant that has to be transported 1,000 miles. The truck costs more than the materials worth, and that's the challenge we have here in New Mexico.
Sure.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Which is it's a good thing we have that sorting location where we all put all this stuff together and put in the sorting spot. But yeah, I wonder how much the transport pays off after it's sorted. Huh. So some stuff you're looking into doing. What did you do? If you're able to talk about it, what did you do for Solero?
I had worked as a program manager for Solero. So they are building solar panels for satellites and creating solar cells for satellite applications.
Yeah, I applied there one time.
Yeah.
It must have not worked.
Yeah, I worked there for 3 years, and the workload was just getting too much because the customers are very demanding, and it's not just only you produce something and ship it, and you have to fulfill quality requirements and delivery times and so on.
Yeah. Wow. So you're now looking for how to do this next stuff. So the gasification. So here's I guess I'll give it some feedback, some other stuff that I've that also increased my interest in this. So I have a friend who's coming, and when I mentioned this gasification thing, before I move on, I'm going to double check with John. John, do you understand the gasification process?
No. I mean, looks good on the thing, but if it's not transistors and microprocessors, I'm
that's great. And you could use microprocessors probably in here somehow.
Oh yeah.
So Rolf, what I'm going to do, I'm going to describe it real quick from my understanding, and then I'm pretty sure you can take it deeper. You're giving us a link right now. That's great. Is this link for? Oh, okay, that's the challenge you're talking about. Okay, I'll take a look at that in a moment. Okay, so you got the trash, and what you do is you put it in the hopper, basically, and then that will it creates 2 things, right? So there's biochar and heat. It comes out. Well, that's any thermal thing, right? Thermodynamics, right? So biochar and water and metals, but then it also is going to it breaks stuff down into these simple molecules, like Rolf mentioned. Methane is a real simple molecule. It's just 4 H's with a C in the middle. So carbon, hydrogen molecule. And then that's really great because then you can do something with it. Now you can create on-site energy. So, this is something you could have for a small location if you're able to make you can imagine a small generator that what you do is just feed the trash into it, right? That makes me think of Back to the Future. Anyway, then you can also synthesis reactor, which I'm not really sure what that's all about. Hydrogen, methane, diesel, gasoline, valuable chemicals. Okay, this is what Rolf was talking about, how you can change it into those chemicals. So you can either make energy, or you can make the chemicals with it. And then you always have these byproducts on the bottom. Is that that's pretty much the idea there, Rolf? But
Yeah.
any clarification or anything you think
No, I think that's very, very good summarizing that. And I would really put in the unsorted heterogeneous waste. We need a sorting process before going into even the gasifier. And the old method is you throw your waste unsorted in a landfill, and then you have collecting methane out of the landfill. That's also an option to generate directly ethanol or hydrogen, not hydrogen, methanol.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool to know. So apparently, the DOE has been into this, and they're trying to make a way that you could like from my understanding, she has this thing on here. It's called the sandwich. Where's it at? Sandwich gasifier. Zoom out a little bit. Somewhere on here, I'll look it up. Control F, sandwich. There we are. Sandwich gasifier was invented and patented by researchers at the Energy and Environmental Research Center, a branch of the DOE. So this guy here gasifier heat to transform complex materials, aesthetics, fuels. Client sandwich gasifier is named after its unique design. Wet, dry, high energy, because the sandwich gasifier convert virtually all of feedstock material into clean synergetic gas char capacity structure systems. Sandwich gasifier provides clients flexible feedstock. So it's talking about clients, and they show a big machine down below, but I'm wondering how small this thing can get. Are scalable. That's one of the things that interests me. Enabling them to be located closer to where the waste produced greatly reduces transportation costs, which is what you were talking about, Rolf, right? The transportation stuff. Does not promote formation of dioxins and furans, which are the toxic chemicals. Is that the toxic stuff? Is dioxins and furans? Is this carbon dioxide? Are we talking about greenhouse gases, or are we talking about toxic stuff?
That's toxic. Dioxins are toxic. Furans are toxic. If you burn some plastic, you get poisonous gases like they use in the concentration camps. If you're not careful.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But I'm not a
the uniformity.
I'm not a chemist.
No. Well, you know more about it than I do, so that's enough. Uniformly high reaction temperature sandwich achieve near complete carbon conversion. That's crazy. In situ, which means like in the place, I guess, of tar and char clean gas. No need for secondary carbon char converts. Lower capital operating costs and higher productivity. So this stuff really, to me, it sounds just amazing and exciting. And our associates are working with experimenting engineers, manufacture projects, and technology. I'm wondering what her involvement is in this, because I know her and I want to talk more about it. If I was really good, I would have told her that this is the topic today, but
no, that would help.
I don't know. Yeah, she could have come today and talked to us all together, but then I wouldn't have been able to hear as much from you, Rolf, because she's able to talk. She does a good job talking. Okay, proud to present technology peer-reviewed, global experts achieving chemicals and electricity. So anyway, what I'd like to do is, in this area, there is a place, and a friend of mine, my friend Kelly, is coming, and he's going to be going to this place. I'm going to see if I can find it here. But it's near Santa Fe, and it's a regenerative community. So first I'll look into the text here, see if I can find the information he gave me the other day. Hopefully high desert. No, that's. Anyway, let me look into that a little bit. So, Rolf, how small have you seen any of these gasification things?
No, I have not seen them, and that's very often at the moment the challenge with DOE. They are doing a lot of stuff at the national labs all over the states, and that's very often a lot of simulation because they always have normally call it digital twin. So you have a computer model, and then you have the process. But at the moment, it's very often lab scale, and I'm just starting to dig into that. So
What do you mean lab scale? What is that?
a laboratory scale. So you have a small
Lab
activity,
scale. Yeah.
and they are working now in the next 5 years to scale up processes to do really mass production.
This is not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about soul medicine. This is Regenesis.
That looks
boy.
good.
Oh, Regenesis or regenerative communities?
The communities.
I feel like this is the one.
That might be.
Yeah. A community dedicated regeneration. Okay. And where is this? Communities future of aging. Oh, okay. Well, maybe. Look at that's in Mexico. There we are.
Looks like home.
That's right.
That looks more like a retirement.
Right. That's interesting.
Yeah, you have the Earthship up in Taos where they do also reuse of whatever.
Understand how the primary operating system shifts later in life from ego to soul. No, this is not. No, that's not what I'm looking for. This is a little difficult if it's throwing me these weird curveballs. I don't know what to do with that. Okay, so that's not it. So Regenesis group, transforming the way humans inhabit the practitioner series, cohorts, the regenerative development manifests. Okay, let's.
Got a lot of good words in there.
Yeah, yeah. Humans inhabit the earth. What is that? What does this mean? Generative practitioner series. I think that's what I'm looking for.
That could be.
Yeah, look, they're wearing hats like mine.
Yeah.
So that's a good sign.
That's a good sign.
That's good. Engage with us. Generate development design. See, okay, and design. Those are good signs, but I'm wanting a location. Transfer. Oh, look at that. Oh, this is a cool drone shot. Okay, so where are we? That's what I want to know. Who are we? Projects, resources. I really don't know. Okay. So anyway, there's basically what I'm looking for is somewhere here in near Santa Fe. I don't know if it's like downtown. Santa Fe Soul Center Regenesis. Okay, well, let's try that out. They've got a food farm somewhere, or food forest, I guess is what they call it. The here in town, and he's coming from California to come visit these places, whatever it was, and I don't remember the name of it and all this. That does not look like it. That looks like something else. But anyway, and he'd been down in Baja California, and at another like this group is looking at properties here. Maybe that's what it is. They're looking at properties up near Santa Fe. So maybe they're not even here already. I don't know. Anyway, and he said they have so many things going on, like, with the farming and all this other stuff that's really working well. But then they have all this garbage, and what do they do with the garbage? And they still do have electrical, resources. So, how do they get energy to their different stuff? So this is a great way, especially if you're focusing on solar or something like that. If the sun's not shining and your batteries aren't powered up, what are you going to do? And so this is like, it's just like anything else. You just put the fuel in, which happens to be whatever you're trashing. I mean, great idea in theory, right?
Not only in theory, I think it can work.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So that's why he was pretty impressed when I brought that up to him, because he's like, oh my goodness. Because when I saw Hanik's page, I mentioned that to him because when he went and saw these things, he's like, they got so many things going. But yes, this is like, from what I could tell, it's like this, they have this big overarching image, and then there's this one hole in it of like, what do we do with our trash, and how do we get electricity? And how convenient that they could go together. Wouldn't that be neat?
Yes.
So anyway, that's kind of I really love all the synergy stuff where it's all coming together to make something. So boy, I wish I had better idea of who I'd contact and know more about that. And I'm pretty sure I wrote it down somewhere, but I don't remember where it is. Oh, maybe I could find the group. It's in Baja, California. So, you know, if you guys wanted to contact these folks, this would probably be something to figure out how to make these happen. And of course, in my mind and this group, I'm thinking, oh yeah, we could work together to make some sort of, Raspberry Pi that makes the gasification more efficient or sorts it out or something. And, Rolf could design it and all this good stuff. And I have it all put together in my head.
Well, the Raspberry is the controller you use.
What's that?
The Raspberry is the controller unit you use for your equipment.
Yeah. So you're accustomed to using Raspberry Pi too?
No, I'm hobby 3D printer, and I'm following a lot of articles in that area, and a lot of people are using Raspberries to upgrade their 3D printers.
Yeah, the Raspberry is just a big microprocessor that's already built. As I understand it, they originally started as a educational thing in England and became a real product, and now there are millions of them out there, I guess. And you can program them in all the modern programming languages, so Python and C and all those.
That's cool. And now they're talking about stem cell therapy stuff and all this other things. That's not it either, right?
So, yep, I'm going to be dead before the stem cell stuff is here.
My goodness. So the regen. So there's another. Okay, this is a place that that might, if I search this a little more, I could possibly find it more. But Regeneration International is a group, and I have this thing in my backyard, Johnson Su bioreactor, and what it is he's created this system that. So this is a different angle, but this thing here is a way of composting, but the idea is you need to have air through that, and that's what the tubes are for. Is the tubes, you put the tubes in until it's created something, and then until the fungal matter inside of all the compost that you have in there has created enough rigidity that it won't fall apart, and then you pull out these tubes. Anyway, I have one of these in my backyard that I created, but instead of making it out of metal mesh, I wove it together with like weed plants, like elm and anyway, salt cedar. And
good
so
for you.
Thanks. What he designed it for was for agricultural industry, right? So the idea is that you could come and move this thing around because it's on a platform, right? And it's rigid and all this. And then when it's all done, about 8 months later, it's basically a bunch of microbes because they've eaten up all the carbon matter, and you don't have to keep turning it because you have the air flow through it. And so that's kind of a neat process. And then you put that into your you put it in a slurry that you put in your field as you're planting your seeds, and it basically creates a bioculture that really helps things grow. And in the end, the idea is that it basically you become as productive as a rainforest, and even more. which is kind of bizarre because usually when you think of doing things organically, you think of, oh, I will have a little less production. And this is doing the opposite. It's actually creating more than what the industrial fertilizers tend to do from his studies. And he's got all sorts of charts and stuff.
That's neat. I've
show him here.
tried composting and found that it worked a lot better in the books than I was able to make it work.
So I'm thinking that I could possibly find my thing here because this is like a whole. So by the way, that guy is from SDSU. SDSU? No, that's I'm thinking NMSU. Sorry, I'm from South Dakota originally, so sometimes I get mixed up. NMSU. So he's actually a professor at NMSU, and he started that for the desert. This process, and he was surprised that like, no one else had found out about that. And it costs $30 to make that thing on your own. But this Regeneration International, they use his stuff, but they do all kinds of things. And so that they use that kind of stuff to make the farm. And then again, they have this big gap. They don't have, what do they do with their trash and how do they get electricity? So in a regenerative way. So that's kind of that concept, and that's kind of cool. The other thing about that is that it's a huge carbon capture. So for greenhouse gases and everything, the fact that actually when we grow our own food, we can grab that fuel back from the air, right, for the food, and we're feeding ourselves and keeping our environment at a more stable space. It's all, basically it's human centric in a lot of ways, but you have to take care of other things in order to take care of ourselves. And so it's just, I just think I really like the mindset of regeneration and regenerative sort of mindset about like, protecting our planet and that kind of stuff. Because it's really, you really take care of people and you really take care of the planet by doing it. And someone had said, because the fields and all that, they're mostly red states and the coasts are mostly blue states, as far as politics go, is the fact that a lot of the emissions are made by the blue states. And then what could happen is all the red states could actually be taking back that emissions, and then in order to feed them back as food, isn't it? So this is like one of these fun sort of and it's again like community synergizing. It's really exciting stuff for me to talk about. Okay, that said, we're in the last stages of the 3 minutes ago we were at 9:50, and so what I'd like to do is you guys tell me something I could do in 10 seconds, or someone else in the group, 10 seconds, that would help you with your quest. So what are some things that we could do for your quest?
I'm doing okay for the next few weeks. Oh. So I don't think, but can I turn it around? What could we do for you?
Oh boy. So well, hold on. Let me, I guess, Ralph, I'll give you a moment. I'll try and answer. So that's great, John, because that's something I could do in 10 seconds, even though I've already taken more than 10 seconds. So for me, this kind of figuring out how people can work together to make this stuff happen, that's what would be really great for my quest, because I'm trying to figure out, I'm a professional organizer, but the reason I'm a professional organizer is because I want people's ideas to make people's ideas happen. So simply by joining me here and having this conversation, you've done great things for me and helped me kind of think about how to tie things together. And if you know anybody who would like to work more with that and actually has a plan going forward and would like help doing that, those are great things for me to work with them on. But yeah, keep connecting me and other folks to this. Invite them here so that we can have this conversation even more. Every week we have different topics. I often return to this regeneration sort of concept. I call it solidarity times. Sustainability is what most people think of because that's made it big in the pop culture. Because to me, you're organizing in order to make the world better for yourselves and for others. And so yeah, you guys are doing some great stuff to make that happen. So is that a good answer, John?
Yes, fine.
Rolf, what's something I could do in 10 seconds that would help you in your business?
I say I'm still looking for the right application. So I'm looking for people who are in need, where I can help with a project with using renewable energies and to be efficient. I need partners to use these things. I cannot do that as a one-man show,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I need a demand. There's a lot of
yeah,
funding available currently from the DOE for all type of projects and for uh, yeah, people with low income and so on. So we need to find a combination where my knowledge is helpful to make a good impact,
yeah,
and maybe getting funding from the government for these things. But that needs to be a package that needs to come together.
yeah. Um, and have you talking to, do you know Annie Irizarry?
Yeah, I know her from the PMP group.
Okay. Oh, is that what this thing is? This this
That's
challenge?
PMP is a certified program manager from PMI,
Ah, okay, yeah, yeah.
and she's also a PMP with the local Rio Grande
Okay.
chapter.
All right. And so you know about her projects that she's working on too.
Not the latest, but I need to catch up with her.
Yeah, I'd say check in with her just to see what's going on. As you know, she's able to talk. She can
Yeah.
talk well. And see about that. Also, she's working with Phil Wilton. Do you know Phil?
No.
Okay, Phil often comes on here, and so he's kind of helping her tie into the grant. Well, they already have it going, but the grants with science, um, the science group that funds things.
Yeah, there's so
I,
many groups. You just have to
Nat-
find the right one.
National Science Foundation, I think. Yeah, NSF. I think that's what it is. It's nice, and they've already got something moving. But talking with them, that might be some good. Tell them I sent them your way. You have their contact information already, right?
We're looking it up right now.
Okay, because they're working on making these. Uh, they're building a community using cargo crates.
Cargo containers.
Yeah, containers. That's what it is. And they're kind of tying all kinds of neat things into it and trying to see how they can make that really efficient, and like having the data centers in the location, as well as the stuff like that regenerative sort of. Because I started talking to him about like, oh, and what you could also do is you could have, this way that you're making it so your food can be right there too, and all this other stuff. So they got a lot of angles they're taking on it, and I don't know, if nothing else, maybe they'll lead you to more contacts. But
Yeah, we'll check it out.
Conversations build on conversations, so that's great. Thank you guys for coming and join me. I've got a few more slides here that I'm going to switch back to and wrap it up. Okay, so I got some cool notes. Next week is going to be commitment, passion, and uncertainty. Okay, and so we're going to talk about that. It's amazing to me how powerful understanding these particular things are, and this is just a cognitive thing of just like when you understand the difference between commitment, passion, and uncertainty, and basically which do you have more control over. And the thing is it's changing your status quo, where you are right now and where you want to be, because we're constantly wanting to do that. Otherwise, we're dead, right? So we're somewhere and we want to get somewhere else. And which of these three things really is going to help us get to that level? And so that's what we're going to discuss next week. And I really appreciate you guys coming, and keep the sparks flowing.
Yeah, thank you for hosting.
My privilege. John, we were going to talk about QR code stuff. So I plan out about a week or two ahead of time. Usually, I've been kind of behind the last few weeks. So I'll put you on. That's great. I'll put you on for about 2 weeks from now, and I'll give you the date in a bit. You're muted. You're muted. John, I can't hear you. You gotta turn it off. Your mute is on the.
Yeah, my fault. I was going to say, 10 minutes will give a pretty good overview, and then if people get really interested, you can go into cue cards into infinity. Yeah.
Well, that's the idea here is we're just basically babbling together and seeing what comes from it. That's my informal setup. So
I think it's really exciting for small businesses. Yeah.
I'm gonna place it on the queue for my ideas. I have ideas coming in, so I'll put it as the next thing, and then next I'll get it. It'll be about the end of June. Is that gonna work? Yeah, end of June. I wonder if I'm gonna do that because I'm gonna have a vacation, but we'll see. Okay. But we'll get it in there.
Okay, good.
Thanks,
it's
John.
Good to have a deadline. Nothing gets done without a deadline. So
that's right. Yeah.
You don't give me a deadline, I'll never get it done.
Okay, end of June.
Thank you.
Well, it'll be like the monthly time with John because he did the end of May last time. It's great. All right. Thank you guys. Have a good night. Day.
You have a good one.
You too.